Hello. I gotta get some water, don't I? First, uh, hmm. I'm writing some stuff on my phone that I want to email later that you can't see. Um, Today you learned memory allocation. That's good. You had a bonkers start to a Dragon Sweeper game. Let's see. What? Okay. So it looks like you hit the 8s straight off. Like maybe you started at the 36 there. And Rat King. So that's pretty good. Wait. Except you also have mines revealed, which means you got slimes, Rat King, and a reveal orb? Or did the reveal orb start on the mines? It must have started on the mines. But yeah, that's a pretty good start. You've also got one corner eliminated and a guy one square from the extra corner, so it only costs 5 HP to know if that corner is in play. Yeah, so that's a good start. That's a good start. The 14 was the start. Oh, okay. So that area just got revealed. Okay, wait, if the 14 was the start, then the 8s actually weren't in there. But you saw the 37. You guessed with the 36. Yeah, it's not that easy to get 36, but it can happen. I mean, the thing is because the Mimic's 11, the Mimics, if you have a Mimic and some 9s, that gets you to 29 already, right? I mean, that's a low probability thing, but dude, I'm so mad about Rat Pacifist. I want an extra stamp for me that's Rat Pacifist without wussing out and killing the Rat King. Because I did it the hard way. All right, back in a second. Okay. You almost got true rat fast fist. Well, almost. That's almost. That is almost. All right, so let's just make sure. Oh, no. All right. Let's make sure our game compiles and runs. So right now, I will demonstrate to you among the problems that we are going to deal with. One problem is we have these neat particles in the water, and they don't always render. They're supposed to be inside the water, but sometimes they render above it. So that's not great. Dude, type. Okay, we're taking a long time to compile shaders. Why is it so many? I don't know. There's 3 lines for each one. Because it's when you start, you queue it to compile, when it starts compiling, and when it's finished compiling. Oh, and then times 2, because we compile the vertex shader and the pixel shader. Okay. So here, the particles are rendering before the water, but there's no guarantee of that. So we're going to want to fix that. But that is not even the main thing I want to do right now, because there's a thing that's probably more annoying than that. And if we do the more annoying thing, then we know that we have the less annoying thing as well. It will be easier. And the more annoying thing is as follows. So let's say I have this beam. Not her though, she can't push. This dude can push, sorry lady. Go. So as I push this, see how it's still like, oh, excuse me. It's still like essentially above the water, even though the object it's attached to is correctly being clipped. Like, see that? Now, there is a little bit of hairline crackage there, but that's not what we're worried about. See, we've got this thing where we draw some of it under the water, and then we draw the water plane, and then we draw more of it. At least. That's how it used to work. I need to see if that's still how it works. I don't know why there's a super floating gate, by the way. Let's just bring that down. All right. So, so we just want this beam to be treated with equity and fairness in this regard. See this? The thing's going to go down. See that? See that? It's going in the water. The beam, however, is not noticeably going in the water, and this is a great disappointment to me. If you're releasing a game for the first time, should you make a business? Here's the thing. It depends. Probably you should. It depends where you live. and what the tax rules are. Certainly, if you ever want to sell the business, you should make a business. If you ever want to have employees, you should make a business. But you can do that when you want to hire people. You don't have to do that right away. But yeah, like there's, like if you're selling a thing around the world, like on Steam or something, you don't know what the tax consequences are of that, or weird laws and things, so it's probably best to make a business. This might look pretty weird, so here's the problem. Maybe I won't do this. I'm going to send an email about this, and I will narrate you guys the email. Okay. Okay, so I was thinking about fixing, or I was diving in to fix the ocean particle draw order issue tonight, and it made me think about the beam draw order, and I am realizing there is a weird thing there as well. If you look at how it is when a beam projector is in the water, the projector itself looks fine. The beam is rendering after the ocean. Which makes it harder to read the scene for puzzle solving purposes, and also doesn't look as good as it might otherwise. My default approach to this was going to be just to do the same thing with the beam that we do with the projector. Render the below water part of the mesh clipped at the water line, at the water plane, then later render the above water part of the mesh. However, if I do this, it's going to look pretty bad because the beam doesn't write to the Z buffer unless we write to Z only when rendering into the water, question. But the point being, it's going to look pretty bad because beam doesn't write to the Z buffer. So the murkiness applied will be that of the ocean bottom behind the beam until you get to the part that's above the water, which will be discontinuously very bright. There are a few options. One, write to the Z buffer only when rendering beams into the water Um, and ignore any error about improper murkiness being applied behind the beam, which might be fine, might not be fine. 2. Use an off-screen surface to store beam depth values that can be used when rendering into the ocean. I'm not sure really how this would work, and used when rendering the ocean. And it would have a performance impact, but it might help us with other aspects of beams, like helping them feel more volumetric. Even in normal cases not involving water. Wouldn't it have been more exciting if I'd typed this into a buffer that all you guys could see? 3, option 3. Artificially brighten the beam when rendering it into the water so it's brighter as it reaches the surface, and then when the ocean surface renders over it, it will apply murkiness of the background, so maybe it can kind of be tuned to come out approximately right. I don't think this will ever really work though, because when a level is arted, there is stuff in the water at varying depths. Whereas the beam just beneath the surface should be uniformly bright. So I'm not sure what to do here. I'll hold off on typing something in until we figure it out. What sounds like a reasonable approach? Okay. So that has been sent. That email is off. Taxes seem like the most important thing to consider if you want to have any control of your wealth. No, I don't think your debt has greater pull than your taxes because, what's a typical interest rate on debt that people have? Unless it's totally usurious. Like 10% would be considered an insanely high rate of interest rate for a debt, right? It's probably more like 5, 6, I don't know. Taxes are way higher than that. So if you can get rid of some of the taxes, you can just pay down the debt faster and you're good. Are we paying taxes this year? I think we are paying taxes this year. However, I wouldn't mind if some serious tax cuts were announced. Unless it's credit card debt. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. What are typical credit card interest rates right now? I mean, obviously it depends on your credit rating, right? Obviously. Okay, so we're not going to worry about this one, but we are going to look at the water particles. These ocean interior particles that you see. $25 or 30%. Okay, well, if that's how high it is, then absolutely pay that shit down. But you know what? You could pay it down if you didn't have as high taxes. For the average person in the US have much more debt payments than taxes taken out of their paycheck. No way. No way. Are you kidding? A figure that I heard was, I don't know how accurate this is. A figure that I heard was the average tax bill in the US is $20,000 a year, which sounds low to me. That sounds like it's not counting the taxes that are being taken out of your paycheck before you see them, and it's not counting sales taxes, and it's not counting property. This is just like federal income tax, right? It's not counting your state taxes. So let's round it up a little bit to like 24K, although it's probably in reality a lot higher than that. The reason I say 24K is because that's $2,000 a month, all right? What percentage of people who are not rich have debt payments of $2,000 a month? That's insane. Nobody has that. The guy who won the 10 million in Beast Games has to pay half to the government. Spoilers. But here's the thing, you know, in some game shows, when they announce a cash prize, they include prepaid taxes in that, like they actually give people more, right? But maybe that practice stopped when taxes got high again, and I don't know. People definitely have payment in excess of $2,000 a month. I just don't believe that. Okay? Why don't I believe it? Because that's $24,000 a year. What the average salary is $60,000 a year. Half of people are lower than that. So you're saying that you think that half of people pay half of their salary to debt payments? That's simply not possible. Oh, mortgage. Okay, if you're including mortgage, then I don't know. But I don't think that's the same thing. Like, yes, a mortgage is debt, but it's offset by the equity value of the house, right? So if you pay $2,000 a month into a mortgage, you're getting 1,000 something high in equity, right? So it's really not the same thing. Whereas if you like went to Las Vegas on your credit card and you have to pay that off every month, you're getting nothing when you pay it, right? And mortgages don't have this thing about, you know, compounding interest raising the debt. Well, good mortgages don't have this thing about compound interest raising the debt if you don't, you know, pay at a sufficient rate or whatever, because all that stuff is figured into what you agreed on when you signed it. There is no way that people have more equity in their home. Now I know you have a listening problem and a reasoning problem. I didn't say they have more than what they pay. I said they have an appreciable fraction of what they pay. Yes, there's profit that goes to all the other parties involved, right? But like I literally said, if you pay 2,000 a month, you get 1,000 something in equity value. Why are you replying to me with like socialist trash if you're not even going to listen to what I'm saying? Holy crap. Holy crap. That's just, I've seen so much socialist trash on the internet that I always assume anyone taking that kind of a line has blue hair because I've just seen too much of it. All right, so we're not going to do this. We are going to do the water particles. So let's just go look at that. Because there is a thing that does this, right? Where we render the thing before the ocean, and we just want to make sure that particles qualify. But they have to go after, they have to go right before the ocean and after all the opaque things. Blue hair group. That, I mean, I would not go see Blue Hair Group, but I think it's a funny idea. Housing on the coast doubled, tripled since '08. Yeah. No, dude, the degree to which housing costs have increased is just beyond insane. And I don't think it's good. I don't think it's good. I mean, it's great. People who bought the house are happy, right? But like, it's just high housing costs are bad for the entire economy and everybody who doesn't already own a house. So we really should take it as a high priority to fix that. So this is weird. I feel like these... Yeah. I don't know. Okay. Okay, wait. Now I'm really confused. Maybe I can't do anything about this because, wait. Now I'm really confused because these particles are not being drawn into the world. Okay. So I'm going to type one more message. Then I go to look at the ocean particles, both the ones I added and the new river ones. And I see that they aren't being drawn directly into the world because if I drop the camera below the water plane, I see nothing. How is this working? Is it that they are being drawn into the world, but we mask them against the z value of the ocean plane? Or is it that they went into a separate buffer and are being read by the ocean shader? See also, like you can sort of see some of these particles are actually above the water, but then they're not overlapping the background, right? They're staying within the boundary. Well, maybe I won't work on either of these right now. That's some pretty bad artifacting right there. I'll tell you what. Maybe we need better interpolations. That seems like a new artifact. Third thing I noticed is that the normal reconstruction on the animated grid is heavily artifacted in a quantized way. Did we change the method here? And is there a reasonable way to smooth it out again? It looks bad. We actually use the grid. All right. Well, I'm just going to complain to people and delegate the tasks for now. All right, we'll do something else. I mean, I was thinking about doing the character switch UI. Wouldn't that be fun? Because we talked about character switching. And we worked on it on stream. And we worked on this whole UI, but then we were like, wait, maybe we'd like this a lot more if it were different. So maybe we'll do that. I didn't totally follow the discussion about paying off debt, but I will say, I mean, it's the obvious thing. Like, look, if you're able to use the debt more productively than the people loaning you the money, right? Then it makes sense to carry debt and not pay it off, right? Like if you're making a return off the money that is higher than the interest rate, then you win, right? It's just for most people that's not true. For most people, that's very far from true. On the other hand, if you buy Libra coin and then they rug pull it, that's also not very good. I didn't hear about Libra coin in time to buy the Libra coin, sadly. Sadly. Why does that not look right? It kind of does. Oh, because there's more. I see. Let's clean this up. Spoop. Spoop. Okay. Let's get down to it. I'm kind of tired. I don't really want to program tonight, but we'll do a little bit. We're just going to do easy. This is the thing. When you're tired, you don't really want to do that much. You just do a little bit. You just do a little bit and it's easy. And then when you go to sit down and do it later, you got a head start, right? A little bit's done. And like really that's one of the keys to succeeding in the game industry. What is a sum type? Dude, so many bad programmers responded to my what is the sum type all offended. There was one guy who claimed that anything that uses a stack data structure is recursion, which I've got to tell you is way up there with the guy who claimed ATAN2 is for 3D rendering. Oh my God. Way up there. I'm gonna get a snack. Back in a second. Rocks don't float. It's on top of something. Dude, it's like, I don't know what it is on programming Twitter, but there's all these people who like think they're really awesome programmers and can tell you with extreme scorn that you're stupid and clueless. I mean, I guess that's always programmers, but like, if you've only been programming for like 2 years or something, like, you gotta know that the average person commenting on programming topics probably has programmed more than you, right? Read a book. Yeah, that was the other good one. I stopped reading Read a Book Guy after he tried to tell me that C integers are sum types. After I asked him like 7 times to actually explain what about what I was saying was wrong. Like point to the thing that's wrong as opposed to just this guy's stupid. And he never did that. So these people are just, I don't even know what to say, dude. You can tell when someone's done the work, right? You can tell when someone's done the work to be a good programmer and when someone's just posing. And it really takes a long time, right? You can't, even if you work really hard, you can't really become a good programmer in like 1 year. I mean, you can within a small context and a small domain, but like the world of computers is so big and there's so many different concepts, it just takes a while. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. We're all on a voyage of improvement. But what's wrong is when you're a dill hole because you think you're smarter than everyone else and you don't actually know anything. And I have done a little bit of that in my own time. But, you know, it is what it is. Probably more when I was in college than any time after. Okay, so here's our old interface. This one's fine. I'm going to just add a variable. Like I said, we're just going to do easy, dumb stuff. I don't really want to work that much right now. We're just going to add a variable that trades off the implementation, right? And it'll default to this interface. However, yeah, and then we can unbind B. That'll be great. Yeah, I already just want to point at the guy. Did I decide to keep the characters in fixed positions on the wheel? Yes, but the plan is we're going to get rid of the character wheel, actually. Because we have a superior idea. And we are now going to start implementing the superior idea. Okay, so I'm going to go into our all.variables. Do we have a character select wheel? All right. We're going to have a variable here called ball passing. That's going to default to false. Is this the right thing? Yeah. Ball passing is false. All right. So this stays the same regardless. Okay. Yeah, I guess we're not going to have a mouse version because right now the mouse is the same. Maybe the mouse version does ball passing. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's not worth keeping that. It's awkward. Okay. So all this can stay the same. This is just about going into and out of the mode. Okay. This is all out of date and will change anyway. Okay. If wheel visuals ball passing, we do a thing, else we do a different thing. What is this though? That's the circle. Okay. So, if we're doing ball passing, we're just gonna do something annoying at first. That's a placeholder. So we've got this draw arrow function that we're going to use. It's a temporary function, but we'll just do it. It's like an editor thing. It doesn't look that good. It's what we're using to indicate the freezer unlocks, but we could do that here as well. So color is that. All right. And we're going to go draw arrow from to color radius. All right, so what are these? We don't know. Radius is O.08. I don't know. That's probably kind of thick, but it's fine. This is of a square right here. Get to use the 3D rendering ATAN2. We might use ATAN2. I reckon we will, at least in the slow version of this, just the drafty version. And that's fine because we're doing 3D rendering. So we can call ATAN2. Okay. So, but for now, we're going to go now. Dude, I got to think about restructuring the file structure. All right. Theta is 2. I'll go tau f mod now. We're just going to have it spin around and around to start. Every... You know what? We'll just have it spin around every second. We don't care. We don't care. Whatever. That number in the F mod actually doesn't really matter except for precision. All right. 2 is going to be from plus theta times 5. Oh, wait. dir times 5. dir is factor 3 dot cos theta sine theta 0. All right, so we go there, and we need from. Do we already have this? Nope. All right, we'll put this in here. One level of this is going to go away, presumably, of this if, because eventually this will just be the default, and we'll delete all the other code, right? All right, so there's some, let's just say, from is hero.visual position plus vector 3 dot z equals 1.1. Like from just the upper body. The characters are about 1.5 high in this game. All right. So we're going to do this. Surely it won't compile. Yep. Fmod. It's not called Fmod. Oh, it's Fmod. Okay, cool. Alpha. Alpha. Are you an alpha? Excuse me, sir, are you an alpha? Yeah, we're going to have the arrow spinning around, and then we're checking that it's tied to the mode fade correctly. So, like, if I... Oh, we got to set it. We're still... Okay, so we want this wheel. Wheel in the sky keeps on turning. Okay, I don't see the arrow. It might be that we're on the wrong shader for that. Oh. No, you know what it is? Well, there's probably like 7 different problems, right? Because it's 3D rendering. But we have our transform set up for screen space rendering. Because that's what we were doing before. Okay, I think we draw arrows in here somewhere. Where do we draw it? I mean, I know... I'm really confused because I know I do this in the overhead map. Oh, wait. Is it in the freezer? No, it's... Oh, it's not an overhead map. I'm being silly. It's, because it draws all the time. It's going to be in, like, HUD or something. Bro. Hold on. Let's go back to here. So when we look this up, we do like unlocked by ID. Now, a lot of people might use this. Did draw arrow, draw unlock item. That's in editor. All right. Because it's temporary code. That's why I was confused. Draw unlock item. Okay. Okay, so we do shader UI. We set the texture. I don't know. Can we just do this? Let's see. What file were we in? That's how you know I'm low energy tonight. I'm like, I forgot the file. We were editing character switch. Yeah. Yeah, remember the alpha? Remember that? All right. So here we're going to do all this. We set the shader. We won't do this because we did draw arrow, I guess. I don't know. God only knows what's gonna happen here. Maybe it'll be all right. We might have broke something that comes after this that expects 2D again. I don't know. All right. Hey. See? Fades in, it fades out. Now, because the character wheel is switching characters, we could turn that off. But here we go. That's great. Ship it. Ship it. Okay. I think in order to respect the character, we want to have a little 0.5 units in front of their face. Right? So, 0.4. All right. The radius is a little big. I knew it would be. And let's... I see. Okay. So here we're just going to not actually select right now. If wheel, what is it called? Wheel visuals dot ball passing. If not ball passing, we do this. All right. How long does an optimized LVM build take? Way too long. Way too long. What if Ubisoft proposes to publish my game? I mean, I would entertain a deal a little bit, but to be quite honest, they would not be my first choice of publisher, and I really don't think that's a surprise to anyone. But if they want to give me $100 million to publish the game, I would talk to them. Who published The Witness? We did. We did. All right, so this is fine. So now I'm just going to make it follow the stick. That's easy, right? So I mean, I kind of just want to store this somewhere. I feel like I have it stored somewhere, though. So this is in this code down here. Wait. Center radius alpha. Gamepad right stick. Oh. Okay. We can do that for now. That's fine. So here's what we're going to do. Instead of our theta, we may not use ATAN2 tonight, guys. I hate to break it to you. So we're going to have this perspective camera distortion situation. We need to adjust for camera. This is maybe the part I don't want to think about tonight, because it could be either easy or hard depending on how on the ball you are. So it's just going to be world space for a second. All right. Step by step. That's how we do it. We don't need this anymore. There's two things. It's like we can use well, long story short, you basically, the way these interfaces feel good is if you point the direction you want in screen space and it gets deprojected to the world space direction. So you got to do some projection matrix inverse Holios. And that's always just unit vector. Is it called normalize? Oh wait, no, it's to the, is it 2 vec 3? That's confusing that those have different names. When is ATAN3 coming out? I don't think ATAN2 made enough money. It had a really high budget. All right. Shwip, shwip, shwip. So we could also, without... So first of all, we should do the length as well. What we'll do is, so we'll have this sort of main pointer that you're swinging around that's maybe not even this long. I don't know. Like you sort of want it to fit on the screen probably. I don't know. But, and the camera's further in or further out sometimes. But there's this, and then regardless of which one you're doing, we want to show who's the current active. So you would have one that's like snapped to the character, and that would instantaneously resnap depending on where you're pointing, right? How do you target the farthest hero? See, I set this up on purpose to test that case. What will happen is you just have to switch twice, but it's really fast. You just flick, flick, right? So we want to make sure that you get the closest one first. My frame rate is too high. Well, I don't... Maybe I should use pattern matching in ML to lower the frame rate. Okay. See, look, we've already got this kind of far. Let's do the length now. I mean, lerp is a little overpowered for what I just did, but that's fine. It's fine. We like a little lerp in our slurp. Aiming felt awkward because of the inconsistent physical stick angle. Yeah. The more perspective you have, the worse it is. Oh boy, I don't like that at all. No, we don't want to do it based on the fade because the fade... Okay. No, we just want to do it based on the stick length. Also, we don't want to call this length because length is a function we want to call. That's length t. Arrow length is going to be length t. All right, so arrow length. Arrow length. I mean, sometimes if people are not really used to this exact kind of problem, see, this is pretty good because it's responding exactly as I push the stick out. Yeah, if you aren't used to solving exactly that problem in 3D, then you just might not realize that it's weird, right? And then there's a thing that happens in development where, like, controls are shitty in some way, but you get used to them because you're developing. Like, they're always shitty in the beginning, right? So you get used to them, and then you don't realize how bad it is for someone new. So I think the way this is going to work is that I think if you push the stick, you're always going to character select because I don't want you to have to press a confirm button or something. I think you always swap, and if you goofed, you swap back, and that's fine. And the thing is, we don't want to actually switch you yet, right? Because because if we switch you as soon as you point to someone, you might be pushing it out and then adjusting down here, but then it'll switch you to the wrong character, right? That's no good. So I think the trigger is going to be we character switch when the stick drops back to 0. Okay, also, there's like a dead zone that I forgot to take into account. Let's fix that. See how when it's shrinking, it goes like really short and in a weird direction? Because that's what it's like when it drops back, but we don't want to draw that because like our dead zone is like here. So if we're less than the dead zone, we want to be at 0, right? So dead zone, what is it? Gamepad dead zone. Gameplay settings. All right. So we don't want that. So the only reason I do that is because I'm going to divide and stuff. So we're going to go minus dead zone divided by 1 minus dead zone. Clamp that from 0 to 1. So if we're in the dead zone, our length is 0. See what I did there? If right trigger isn't in use, you like it for confirmed swap. I mean, we're probably going to use it for time control or something. Do sports games do confirm swap? Like you pull trigger to shoot? Like what are people used to? Like is it I point like this and then I pass the ball by trigger? What about switching between characters that are at different elevations? It's all going to be by screen space, so that'll just work. We should test that for sure. Let's remind ourselves to test that by just putting someone at an elevation, but like it'll be fine. Because right now we're just drawing the arrow horizontally, but it's going to be a screen space arrow probably. Probably, I don't know. Like we already have to do the screen space dewarp, so yeah. So right now this is like pointing in the world, so you would miss him, right? Like you would have to point down here to point at the. It's hard to tell because we're not drawing a shadow for it and we're not Z buffering, right? But like there or something, and you know. You would have to point up here to point at him. But that's similar. That's just perspective again. And we will handle it. You want to just point at him. How often will you character switch to a character that's off screen? It does happen in this game. It is rare, but it does happen. In almost all cases, when there's characters on different screens, there's literally only 2 characters in the whole level. So in those cases, like the way it's going to work is, I'm rotating this around and there's some pie slice, right, of each character. So like here is her and there is her, and like right in between it's ambiguous, right? Um, and then, you know, same over here, it's him or it's her, or you're right on the line, right? So, uh, so if someone's off the screen, if there's only one character in the game besides you, they would get 360 degrees of the pie. So you would just literally flick in any direction and it would do them, right? And then if that's not, if there is some level with 3 characters who could be off the screen, which does happen. I could think of at least one level where that could happen out of the entire game. You'll just, like, we'll visualize the pie slices in some way, like we'll color code the arrow based on the character as well, right? So this is all solvable. Yeah, there probably should be some provision for characters that are closer, like, so if I'm, I don't know, if I'm here, that's her and that's her, right? But like, I don't know, it might be fine even in cases like, I mean, maybe if I'm standing here, I don't know. This is just, it's very easy to hit, I feel. We'll see. Like, we're going to use it and in practice see what the problems are, so it's fine. Show view of character on the side of the screen. Maybe. I mean, I'd like to get away without additional art. Could I draw the character icons at the screen edge? I mean, maybe. I just don't think it's worth it. It's like such a rare case. You would prefer fixed muscle memory character swaps. We tried it. It sucked. I mean, well, it didn't suck. It's just not that good for this game. But like that's literally what we already implemented, and I don't think it's going to be that good for people. Like it takes you it takes you a long time before you see some characters, so you just don't know them, and there's a lot of different ones. It's just not that good. The designers called it whip select. All right. Shouldn't you prefer the character further away? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it feels. All right. So here's what I want to do. I want to go to bed soon, but before we do that, we're going to draw a second line. And that line is going to go to any other character that is not the hero, right? Because again, we're doing it step by step. So we get the other line on the screen. Okay. And then we make it responsive to where you're pointing the arrow. Right? Okay. So All right, so we're just picking an arbitrary other character. All right. Okay, if other. Let's put this down here. If other. I mean, should it? It should probably be in the same plane. Right? Because you want to be able to line them up or something. All right. So if other. Okay. And then so we have a character index, we got a character color. All right. Now we need this hero dir. So I'm gonna. All right, there we go. We've got a line on the screen that is pointing at the other guy. It is not responsive to our thing. And so now we're just going to make it kind of responsive, and we'll deal with it later. All right, so if it is equal to hero, continue. And then delta world delta world is all right. Dir world is unit vector delta world, and dot is dot product of dir world, comma, gamepad dot right stick. All right. Best dot is minus 2.0. If dot is greater than best dot equals dot, other equals it. Bruh. Dot product. Vector 3, vector 2. Whoops. Stir world.xy. Ah! I felt really good about that. What did I do? Oh. This. Dee, 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 dee. Look, easy clap. It's like almost usable actually. All right, you know what? I think we're kind of... I mean, it's sloppy where, like, when it's releasing. So we want to deal with that, but like this almost actually works, and then it's about making it nicer, which will take a substantial amount of work, but you know. Insta swap when max length is reached. I don't know if I like that. Maybe. I like it when the arrow starts shrinking. Allowing on the player to remove their thumb from the stick. Yeah, I mean, it's just, here's the thing, is like, it's either that or a button. But we might be kind of short of buttons. We might not be. Like, it's honestly not that bad, even with this world space going on. Like, it's surprisingly okay. But that's because we don't tend to have really deep perspective in this game, but there's cases when we do. There's definitely cases when we do. So we're gonna have to do that anyway. What if the player changes their mind about swapping? Too bad. Too bad. You swap. It doesn't matter because swapping doesn't cost anything. You just swap back. Anyway, I'm going to try it that we select when starting to shrink, and we'll just see. Oh, we didn't weight by distance, dude. Okay, so here's the thing. We need to pick Sailor Lady first. And that means it needs to be a little bit fuzzy. Okay, we're gonna use ACOS. or something. I don't know. ACOS, the problem with ACOS is it doesn't work all the way around the circle. Right? So we would need a sine component. Allow them to move it back to center slowly. I mean, maybe. But that's about as hard as just flicking back, right? Am I an Ultima 7 fan? No, I am not an Ultima 7 fan. I'm an Ultima 4 and 5 fan. Which one even was Ultima 7? I was a big Ultima fan when I was a kid, and then some of those games came out when I was in college, so I didn't play them. But I went back. Is Ultima 7 the one where you can like pick the fork off the table and use it as a weapon or whatever? I really didn't. I bounced off that game so hard, dude. That's like the one with the real-time combat. That was ass. That game was ass. That game was almost as much ass as Ultima 9. It's just Ultima 9 was more assy than any Ultima ever could possibly be. I remember seeing Ultima 9 at E3, dude. I was like, oh my god. Of course, I was playing Ultima 7 on a modern PC. So, like, the combat ran mega, mega, mega fast. So I would go and, like, get in a fight, and all my guys would die instantly. It was awesome. Yeah, swapping twice is going to be super rare. I'm just going to try it. It's going to be the following. You point, you release to select, and that's it. And then we'll just see. If that's not good, we can change it. It's great. Yeah, I want to deal with this character selection, and then maybe I go to bed. I need another snack. Hold on. Back in a second. Back in a second. Okay. They only can swap to the nearest in that direction. Yes, that is what we want. The problem is, how do you say nearest in that direction? What is that direction? Because here's the thing. there's like floating point error and all that stuff. It's not going to be exactly the same, right? And like even just characters continuously moving in and out. So also there's like, what if a character is dead and stuff, which we're not doing. So here's what I think. I think we're going to pre-process the active characters. Okay, first of all, we're ignoring manager.turnOrder, so we want that. And then what we want to do is say, you know what else I realized is a problem? There's cases where you have multiple clones. But I think we'll just pick one of the clones. Yeah, I don't really like... So when it comes to stuff like partial motion of the analog stick, you know, or slow motion of the analog stick, I think that takes a lot of energy to deal with and is difficult, which is fine if you want some gameplay that takes energy to deal with and is difficult. So for example, a safe cracking mini game or something, right? Or it's Operation and you have to, you know, move without hitting the sides. Like, that's fine. But for a casual action that you just want to do in a game, I don't feel like it's good. I don't feel like it should take energy to do, right? This is not part of the puzzle. Exactly. This is not part of the puzzle. Can I allow the user to slowly release the stick? Meh. I tried it while we were talking about it, and I just didn't like the way it felt. I mean, it depends on what do you mean by slowly, of course, but if slowly is not differentiated well enough, then people might do it by accident, and then they're like, my character's not selecting, right? So I would rather do it without that and keep it, because you also have to tutorialize that, right? So I would rather do it without that and just see how it is. And then if we don't like it for some reason, we will change it. It's fine. Game's not done. Dude, the fact that I have the phrase thoughts on blocked is like the best. That's the best idea I've ever had. It's not a video game. It's blocking thoughts on. I recommend everybody do it. Mm-hmm. Doesn't work on podcasts. Sad. Sad. Sure, you'll have to lock in a direction. I mean, it's whatever the direction was when the stick was maximally outward, right? You only update the direction if the stick is as far out as it has ever been. All right. I am rapidly starting to fade, but I want to do a little bit here. I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure what the right approach is because I'm thinking about all the clones. I'm just going to do it manually. All right. I'll type a little bit of note to myself. I need to set up some clones in our test level, so I don't forget about it, right? So I'm going to have this guy, and he's going to be there as well, but this guy's going to be a clone, which means we set turn order ID to that. It means what does it mean? Is that it? Oh, we want it to mirror him. Boom. All right. Here we go. So right now we just pick one of them as the arrow source, which I think is probably fine. He could switch to himself. Maybe we would filter clones out, right? There's just all this stuff. And we also could have a dead character that we test, right? Let's have the druid be dead. So he could be there. All right. So like right now, he's in the list. That's not good. Okay. I mean, I do reject a lot of requests to the beta, so maybe you just didn't say things that I thought were very appropriate for now. I don't know. All right. Okay, so this is a better test suite. So, all right, if it's a hero, all right. So if is dead, continue. If doesn't currently exist. There's some more we got to do, but let's do this. If ID heroes equal ID it continue. Don't swap to clones. But there's also there's also that. Currently exist. I forgot a letter. All right. It's not really just what are people going to use it for, but like we're really looking for at least moderately experienced programmers right now in systems programming languages, right? So one thing, we used to take more things of the form, hey, I do web programming, but I want to get into systems languages. And the problem is a lot of the time those people are really annoying and cost a lot of time and energy, right? So, yeah, so, all right, so we're ignoring clone to clone. We're ignoring dead guy. All these are fine. So we do still have this issue. We happen to be getting it right here. But that's luck. So how do we want to disambiguate this case? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Yeah, I already like this. Just feels fun to play with, whereas the wheel was kind of fun to like bring it up and do stuff with, but it like wasn't, it like wasn't good. And it wasn't fun if you're actually selecting, if you care who you're selecting. Like it was fun to bring up and go woo, but it wasn't fun to like actually select people, whereas this is fine. Would it look better if the arrow was drawn on the ground? I don't care right now. You're talking about things that I completely do not give a shit about. You gotta see, the thing with game programming is there's always a lot of stuff to do. You gotta like not let yourself get derailed. Like look how shitty this looks when it flashes around when I let the thing fall in. So I've got to do filtering for that, regardless of how it's drawn, right? Like it has to feel good. And I can't even select characters yet. What's the point in making it look better if I still can't actually select, right? So you've got to pick your battles and be very methodical about doing things incrementally, Yeah, see here I'm going right past this guy, which is no good. So I think I'm going to have a pre-screen. I'm going to have a pre-screen loop where we just block characters that are at approximately the same angle, right? So we're going to iterate. We're going to do an n squared. And if we detect you're at the same angle, which is dot product of 1 within epsilon, then the closer guy wins, right? Okay. So here we go. We'll do that, and then that'll be our thing for the night. So we're not going to do the dot product yet. So we're going to say for pre-filtered heroes, all right? Then we're going to do this. All right. We're going to say pre-filtered heroes. We pre-filter the array so that closer heroes will block further heroes so that we get consistent selection results. You would select twice to get to the further hero. All right, so we pre-filter the array. Look at all this code we have. I thought I was only going to run a tiny amount, a tiny sip, as Sanchez would say. Thank goodness I only took a tiny sip. All right, so pre-filtered heroes is an array of guy, and allocator is temp. Okay, and then array add pre-filtered heroes. It's all right. So no, we don't want that. All right. This is a candidate for inclusion. Iterate over all existing heroes and see if we are blocked. This is rare. Okay, so for pre-filtered heroes, whatever. Okay, so we're gonna want dir is, we're gonna want this. Okay, so we're going to do the direction. If we didn't handle it in the loop, then we add the guy. All right. Now, for other, okay. We're going to do some Cowabunga-oriented programming. And then, what do? We say, we could have done this. It's just since you're rarely blocked, it's maybe not worth caching this value. You know, let's just call... I don't know. All right. My distance, other distance. If my distance is less than other distance, else something, right? If my distance is less than other distance, then overwrite the existing guy. Pre-filtered heroes, it index equals it. Let's rename this. So, you ever eaten a candy date? Handled is true break. Actually, do nothing, which will discard this guy. All right. So dot epsilon is a high number. All right. So candidate, candiate, D8. Ugh. so Cowabunga, that must be the guys on the left. Yeah, okay. So here's the thing. It's confusing that the arrow goes further than the character is, right? But, like, how do we deal with that? You know what I'm saying? Because if you make the arrow go all the way to the target, it's going to be swinging all over the place as you go around. Maybe the normal length is like this or a little shorter, but we'll trim it as you get over toward the guy. Like that's a whole thing. So now we're getting no Cowabunga because nobody's in line. That's great. Whoops. And then here we are. And we're going to the right guy. So that's great. I think that's it for the night. Next steps would be actually turn on the character switch. So this is great. If I wanted to keep working in like 10 or 15 minutes, we just would be able to do the character switch. It might even be less than that. It's just I want to do a good job on it tomorrow, right? So that's good. And, you know, we just sat down. I was like, I'm just going to do a little bit. We ended up making, you know, 140 lines of code or something, plus probably some code somewhere else. That's decent. Try to make a guy carry another guy. Yeah, that won't work right now because this is all happening in world space, but we're going to switch it to screen space. Maybe we should do that tomorrow first. Because that's the thing. The more code there is, the more annoying it is to change later, right? So maybe that's the first thing we do is we switch it to screen space. And then it'll be fine. You would just point up to go to that guy, or you would point, you know, at a different angle to go to another guy. You'd also try a guy hiding behind the pillar. Yeah, I don't... Oh, near exactly where the wizard is in screen space? Yeah, I mean, in that case, one of them will win, and it'll be whoever's screen space distance is the shortest, right? But let's set that up. Now we don't have thief in here. Let's put thief. Whoops, we don't want to move the camera. So like there. I think wizard will win inevitably in this case. But we could see, maybe not, right? So maybe we want a bias value for how close to the camera somebody is, right? We'll see. What do we do right now? Right now it's just world space, so it's like you're going to be able to see, you're going to be able to change who you point to. But it's surprisingly usable already, which is great. Did I not have a no check-in on my Cowabunga? Did I delete the Cowabunga and not recompile? Yes, that's what happened. All right. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out while we did some things. Started work on the ball passing characters select. That's good for just 2 hours or however long it was, right? We went from nothing to that. 2 hours. How good is that? Okay. Raid Randy. We could raid someone. We didn't raid last time. So let's see. Who's up? Today we open the world. I don't know what that means. Did Adam C. Eunice ever come back after we raided him that one time? Ooh, look, they popped the thing now. Fiverr for voice actors. That's going to be horrible. I'm sorry. That is the worst decision you have ever made. Boom head. Someone's got boom headshot, dude. FPS Doug. Oh my god. Too bad it's may contain sexual themes, or else I would raid. Why would I not raid an FPS Doug fan channel? Well, it's also like a frickin' VTuber, right? Let's see. Let me drag this over here. I'm investigating. Yeah, it's like a stupid VTuber robot with boobs playing Balatro. Why would we raid that? That is not appropriate. Make an RPG. C++. Linux kernel networking. Well, you know, this person is not left-wing. Still working on the Linux kernel after the Great Purge. What is this, like, sexual themes in programming? What is going on now? It's a lady wearing a nightgown. What is happening? Okay, make software great again. There we go. Rant to rule them all. What is, how do you make software great again?
I just don't see how that's a logical thing that you can say is a good thing. I don't see how you can make that logic work. That seems like the most illogical thing to do. Charitable for sure, yeah. It's not higher. I think it is. I think it's more like 17%. And that's like,
Okay. I don't know what's going on there.
But let's not get.
Hey, look, programming
Yeah, legendary.
in JavaScript.
Okay,
All right.
so now we build.
Let's get this. Usually this is my build script.
There was like somebody else's voice. I'm like, am I tripping? There were like two voices.
Which is
Yeah.
He's talking to someone, I guess. All right, we will raid this situation. I will not send you to a lady in a nightgown. Thanks, everybody. See you later.